Osho. I wanted to read you something here. Okay, we got here. Priest leads mob in smashing menorah in Moldova's capital. Now, this was published on Wednesday, last week. So I thought I would still read this to you. It's very interesting. Okay. We have here dozens of people led by an Orthodox priest smashed a menorah in Moldova's capital using hammers and iron bars to remove the candelabra during Hanukkah, officials said. The 5-foot-tall ceremonial candelabrum was retrieved, reinstalled, and is now under police guard. Police said they were investigating, but there was no official reaction from Moldova's Orthodox Church, which is part of the Russian Orthodox Church and counts 70% of Moldovans as members. The national government said in a statement that hatred, intolerance, and xenophobia are unacceptable. Jewish leader Alexander Volinkas called on the Orthodox Church to take a position over the priest's actions. The Jewish community was thriving before World War II, but there are now estimated to be 12,000 Jews in the former Soviet Republic. 20 years ago, there were 66,000 Jews. Many immigrated to Israel. And there is another article here. It's called Christians of the Holy Land Denounce Israel and Evangelicals, and a lengthy declaration labeled as a message of faith, hope, and love. Dozens of Arab Christian leaders from various churches represented in the region denounced Israel as a main obstacle to peace and rejected the validity of the biblical link between the Jews and the land. Published on Friday by regional leaders of the Catholic, Greek Orthodox, Lutheran, Anglican, and Baptist churches, the document, titled A Moment of Truth, lamented that the Israeli-Palestinian peace process had reached an impasse and that there was now little hope of reversing Palestinian suffering. We, a group of Christian Palestinians, after prayer, reflection, and an exchange of opinion, cry out, and within the suffering in our country under the Israeli occupation, with a cry of hope in the absence of all hope, a cry full of prayer and faith in a God ever vigilant, and God's divine providence for all the inhabitants of the land, read the statement. Today we have reached a dead end in the tragedy of the Palestinian people. These people don't know anything about history, and it's amazing. But it goes on to say Israel was solely blamed for the situation. Aren't they always being blamed? In a section titled The Reality on the Ground, the Christian leaders listed the reasons peace had not been reached, including Israel's security wall, the presence of Jews in Judea and Samaria, Israeli checkpoints, the jailing of Palestinian terrorists, and Israel's control of a unified Jerusalem. Like their Muslim counterparts, the Christian leaders insisted that the suicide bombers and their attacks against Israelis that necessitate many of the above measures are not terrorism, but rather legitimate resistance. Israel justifies its action as self-defense. In our opinion, this vision is a reversal of reality. Yes, there is Palestinian resistance to the occupation. However, if there were no occupation, there would be no resistance, no fear, and no insecurity. That position, of course, ignores the fact that Arab terrorism against Israel began long before 1967, when Israel liberated the so-called Palestinian territories from Jordanian occupation and took possession of them in line with the original UN mandate for the region. The leaders then took aim at evangelical Christians around the world that support Israel based on biblical precepts. Jesus came with a new teaching, Mark 1:27, casting a new light on the Old Testament, on the themes that relate to our Christian faith and our daily lives, things such as the promises, the election, the people of God, and the land, said the statement. For this reason, it is unacceptable to transform the Word of God into letters of stone. This is precisely the error in fundamental biblical interpretation that brings us death and destruction when the Word of God is petrified and transmitted from generation to generation as a dead letter. This dead letter is used as a weapon in our present history in order to deprive us of our rights in our own land. It continued. The Christian leaders insisted that the biblical mission of universal salvation had everything to do with the land itself and the body of believers in it, and not with the nation of Israel as defined in Scriptures. They were adamant that the Bible offers no spiritual divine mandate for the Jews to have sovereignty over the land today. And of course there's more here, and I don't have time to read all that. But what I'll say is it's obvious, you see what's going on. So let us always remember them in our prayers. And you see how that, these people here are supposed to be Christians, and they're saying such things. These people have fallen, and they do know nothing about it. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Soda, You're right, brother Redbone. Anyway, but yeah, we need to, to be careful of people who might try to sneak in amongst us unaware, trying to bring this kind of stuff and heresy, and also trying to sit there and try to say that the land of Israel, is not necessary and all this kind of stuff, that it's, more or less saying that Israel's the occupiers. No, it's not that way at all, and hasn't been. But, we know the truth. These people obviously they don't, and all this is hate. And we need to stop the hate by getting it out of our hearts. So I thought I would share that with you, and I better get off. Time's a wasting here, Shalom.